We no longer have the shelters. We don't maintain them. We stopped maintaining them decades ago. It's not easy to tell what kind of effects you'll have because it's such a large area. Some equipment is going to be affected, some of it's going to be affected but not totally destroyed. So it's going to create a very chaotic situation with regards to our very high-tech society.
In Sydney, Australia, an international banker loses connection with her colleague on Wall Street. In Santiago, Chile, a businessman is cut off from a video conference call based in Moscow. But while there's confusion below the equator, in the northern hemisphere, where the war has begun, there's widespread turmoil.
A nuclear war in the modern age is going to be pretty fast. A lot of it is going to be motivated by the fact that a lot of our weapons are targeting a lot of their weapons and vice versa. So whoever strikes first gets to use their weapon. If you leave the weapon in the silo and they're allowed to hit it, then you've lost it. They call this use it or lose it.
While the US and Russian capitals are going up in flames, billions of people don't yet know that a nuclear war has started thousands of miles away. In Sydney, Australia, the international banker tries to reach her partners in the US and Europe, but can't establish any form of communication. At the American Embassy in Tokyo, agents find that all lines to Washington go down at the same time. Some governments begin to piece the news together from spy and weather satellites. They must either join the fight or do their best to stay out of it. But while some nuclear powers hold their fire, the war between the US and Russia rages on. In the flaming ruins of Moscow, the radioactive landscape suddenly trembles as a low rolling thunder vibrates through the air. It's the sound of the bombing of London, more than 900 miles to the west. The city was destroyed over an hour ago, but the sound waves moving at 770 miles per hour are reverberating across Europe. Over the next few hours, people all over the world and cities that haven't yet been hit are shaken by the sound of distant nuclear strikes from hours ago. Ghosts of a war that is not yet over. An eerie pause comes over the planet as the horror sinks in. The remaining nuclear weapons, mostly on submarines and mobile launchers, will take at least 2 days to reach their launch positions. And the attacks will be widespread.
Those forces might last for days, they might last for weeks. And theoretically, there's no limit to how long the submarines that are hiding in the oceans can survive.
As the war expands worldwide, a Russian naval commander finds a target of opportunity in the southern Pacific. An American aircraft carrier docked in Australia at Sydney Harbor. The Russian commander launches a nuclear-tipped cruise missile at it to take it out. The carrier and its 6,000 crew members are instantly vaporized. And outside the weapon's half-mile fireball, the iconic Opera House becomes collateral damage.
Suddenly it's lit up brightly, more bright than the middle of the day.
The individual plates on the sails will peel off, the superstructure will bend. The building will get blown inward and collapse. This iconic structure will crumble under its own weight into this unfortunate, catastrophic mess.
"6,000 miles away, American nukes strike Beijing as the U.S. suspects Chinese involvement in the Sydney attack. Chinese submarines retaliate with nuclear hits along America's west coast, from Seattle to San Diego.
You would have no structure standing. There would be rubble everywhere.
There is little rebuilding in the Northern Hemisphere, where the destruction was the greatest.
Now, the real interesting question is what will happen with the rest of the world? Will maybe, perhaps, Brazil rise to power, or South Africa, or even Australia?
But a rise to power will be a slow process. A city like Rio de Janeiro may not have been physically destroyed, but so many died from starvation that few people remained to pick up where civilization left off.